What if I told you the next food crisis has already started, but you just can't see it yet? Because this time it's not only about war or it's not about politics, it's something much more concrete. We are talking about food, how we produce it. The system that has made it possible to feed billions for decades is starting to crack. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly what's happening, why food prices could skyrocket in the coming months, and most importantly, what you can do right now to make sure you aren't caught off guard. So let's start with a simple image. When you go to the supermarket and see bread or pasta that we love in Italy, of course, and vegetables, all in their place at more or less stable prices, you take it for granted. You assume there's a massive, well-oiled machine working behind the scenes, ships moving goods across the globe, energy flowing, factories running smoothly. For years, that machine worked just fine, but now it's hitting a wall. Like I said, the issue isn't just a war. We are constantly in war, I don't know if you notice, or a political crisis somewhere else. We are all in political crisis everywhere. It's that the physical components of this machine are breaking. And when the parts actually break, you can't just sit down at a table and negotiate a fix. It doesn't work like that. There's a fundamental reality at play here that almost no one thinks about. Food depends on natural gas, directly and structurally. Think about it. To grow wheat, corn and vegetables on an industrial scale, you need fertilizers. Without fertilizers, crops don't grow enough. And without enough crops, there isn't enough food for everyone. The most critical fertilizer is nitrogen. And nitrogen is produced using natural gas. In fact, about 70 to 80% of global production depends on it. So the math is simple. Less gas means less fertilizer means smaller harvests. Smaller harvests mean less food. And less food means one thing: higher prices for everyone. This isn't just a theory, it's already happening. Several European fertilizer plants have already shut down because gas was simply too expensive. Some countries are starting to ration energy, and others are halting exports to make sure they can feed their own people first. This means the problem is spilling up now, but we won't see the full impact until the next harvest, in 6 months or a year, because of course the food that we are eating right now, it was produced by fertilizers that hadn't this problem. But the next food that we are going to eat, that food had this problem, because the fertilizers now are costing so much. So with these fertilizers that are costing so much, we are producing the next food, and in 6 months or a year you will find the cost on the supermarket. It's simple. And when it hits, it's going to hit all at once. So let me ask you a blunt question. Where do you stand in all of this? If you depend 100% on the supermarket to eat, you depend on everything I just described. You are at the mercy of shipping routes, fertilizer plants, and gas prices that none of us control. When those prices go up, the price of your grocery cart goes up with them. On the flip side, people who have built even a small amount of food autonomy are in a completely different position. And not only for the price, but also for what they are eating. I don't want to talk about that in this video. This is exactly what we do at Rendita Agricola, and I'm not just saying this to say it. I'm telling you because what's happening in the world proves something we have been saying for years. Producing even a portion of your own food sustainably isn't just a nice idea. It's a smart survival strategy. Let's look at how that works in practice. If you produce some of your own food, even in a small space, you have two major advantages. First one is security. When supermarket prices spike, you already have something at home. Your vegetables, your eggs, your preserves. You aren't completely vulnerable to a market you don't control. And second advantage is economics. This is huge if you produce to sell. If your production costs don't depend on chemical fertilizers, your margins actually grow as market prices rise. It happens automatically, but you increase also your margin. So think about two farmers. One uses synthetic fertilizers. Every time gas prices go up, his costs go up. The other uses an autonomous biological system. His costs stay flat, while the market goes crazy around him. Who has the advantage? The answer is obvious. This brings me to a key point, because it's central to everything we are discussing. One of the most powerful tools for building this autonomy, and one of the most underrated, is vermiculture or worm farming, specifically the production of worm humus, vermicompost it's called. I know some of you might be rolling your eyes, but listen to me. Worm humus is an incredible natural fertilizer. It restores the soil, feeds the plants, and boosts yields. People who use it see real, measurable differences in their crops. It's actually about 10 times more effective than standard manure. But in today's world, the most important thing is this. Worm humus doesn't depend on natural gas. It doesn't depend on fertilizer factories. It doesn't depend on global shipping routes. It doesn't depend on any of the chaos I've described. You produce it yourself using waste you already have. Manure, vegetable scraps, organic matter. The worms do the work for you for free and turn it into top-tier fertilizer. Needless to say, the costs are incredibly low. You can start a worm farm for less than 500 euros, often much less. They live there, they reproduce on their own, and you just have to feed them scraps every 15 to 20 days. You basically need 2 hours a month to manage the whole thing. The worms and handle the rest. Why am I so passionate about this? Because worm farming isn't just about saving money on fertilizer. Right now it's a massive market opportunity. As chemical fertilizers become more expensive and scarce, more farmers will be looking for natural alternatives. More home gardeners will want something that works without costing a fortune. Demand for natural humus is growing and the supply is still tiny. And an important thing is that with just 20 to 30 square meters of space, you can produce between 100 and 180, so it's 10 to 18 tons, it's easier for you to understand, of humus a year. If you sell it in a small bags, you can make some serious money. And liquid humus, which you get from the solid version, is worth even more. In a market forced toward natural solutions by this crisis, those producing humus today are ahead of the curve. I want you to take away one simple idea from this video. Food is about to get more expensive. Not because someone decided it should be, but because the system producing it is structurally fragile. And that fragility is finally surfacing. In this scenario, if you depend entirely on the outside world to eat, you are vulnerable. But if you have built even a small piece of autonomy, you will be safe. And in some cases, you will even have a financial edge. Building that autonomy doesn't mean quitting your job and moving to a farm. It means starting with what you have, where you are, with the time you have got. A small garden, some pots, a microgreen shelf, a bin of worms in the garage. Doesn't matter. Every single thing you produce yourself is one less thing you're forced to buy at a price someone else decided. And in times like these, that's worth more than you think. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. What do you think about this? Do you already have a small space where you are growing something? Are you thinking about starting but don't know where to begin? Or do you have a long-held dream of working with the land? Let me know. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe the channel and leave a comment. So, thanks for sticking with me. I'll see you in the next video.